AI and the shifting social zeitgeist, plus an optimistic view of the future. My name is Matak. I am the founder and CEO of Grobo.com. We employ dozens of people. I started the company in 2010. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. This company, Grobo, formerly AutoGrow, started as a web design agency, evolved to be a web marketing agency, and then a productized service. And today we are in real time, as I share across videos like this, launching our AI growth automation platform where we just make it easy for businesses to grow faster and save time with the power of AI agents and automated workflows. Um, as a company, we are bootstrapped. We have taken no outside VC investment, and we're very proud of that. I personally have also built AI from scratch. So that's where I'm coming from this video. I also do my best to talk to a lot of people and to absorb information from a lot of different places and to be as logical and objective as possible, not to come at things with preconceived notions, but try to reason within each situation um, individually. So, I was out yesterday driving to the gym after work, and a friend called me. And since, I'd known this friend since I was about 8 years old, uh, and it was nice to catch up. Actually hadn't talked in a few years, so it was nice to catch up. He asked me what I was doing a little bit later on in the conversation, and I talked to him about Grobo.com and what we're launching. And he made sort of a sarcastic comment saying like, "Oh, so you're going over to the dark side." And it kind of struck me as an interesting point and something that I wanted to make a video about because it's part of an evolving pattern that I'm really picking up on, not just from talking with friends and acquaintances and random people that I'll run into, in and outside of a professional setting, but also I'm seeing it play out, where the perspective, it seems like it might be moving in a polarized direction where there are people, and I think it has been developing. There's a label. There are AI accelerationists. Like, yeah, like let's just pump the gas as much as possible. Um, and they are sometimes called techno optimists. And then there are people on the other side who, as this penetrates the social zeitgeist, and zeitgeist is defined as the defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. So, as I was saying, on the other side, as AI and new advancements like this past week, we saw new announcements from Google and OpenAI. GPT 4.0 launched. Google came out with some similar announcements and advancements, but OpenAI is really still leading the way. Although in terms of capabilities, it seems like, and overall knowledge and reasoning, it seems like at the moment this could change pretty much at any time. But at the moment, the publicly available OpenAI and chatbot type of trained AI model technology, it's kind of plateauing. Um, but that being said, as people become more aware of this, the other end of the spectrum is fear, fear and anger, and pessimism about the future. And I think both sides on the spectrum have reason to feel and think both. Um, so I'm not, you know, if you asked me in 2017, before I had actually uh, started to invest serious time in learning how to build AI, neural networks from scratch in terms of backpropagation, reinforcement learning, neuroevolution, which is what I have literally done. So I'm speaking about the subject from hands-on experience. So if you had asked me then, I would have said, because I was actually writing a sci-fi trilogy, that was my prediction for what was going to happen. And my view was sort of pessimistic, but like it was like pessimist, but just kind of it is what it is. You have to accept it. And two of the characters in this sci-fi trilogy, one was talking to the other, and at one point in the book says you have to just put the future behind you. Sort of a form of accepting what may or may not be inevitable, um, and just kind of like live day to day, because we have to make choices now. We can't live our entire lives worried about something that may or may not come, even if we think that it's probable. So, you know, when my friend said you're going up to the dark side, the kind of the light switch that flipped on was just, because he's actually a very social person. I grew up in New York. I'm living in Florida right now. He's still in New York. He's living in New York City, and he works both a corporate job and then he bartends also, for extra money and because he loves to be social, he loves to meet people. And so he's pretty tapped into the zeitgeist as well, just meeting people from all over, especially in New York City. So, you know, I think it's just one data point, um, because like my friend, he's not an overly political person. Growing up with him, I don't know where he's at now, but he was sort of, a little bit more aloof in terms of, anything to do with politics. And I think a lot of his views on sort of like public facing issues, like something that was maybe political, which AI is bound to be politicized at any moment. It's already heading in that direction for sure. It's only a matter of time until you can predict someone's political party based on their opinion on, in terms of AI. It's really unfortunate how that works. I mean, if you know someone's position on one thing, it kind of predicts. That's just unfortunately the herd mentality and the level of persuasion that we operate at as human beings, where unfortunately we tend to outsource our thinking and kind of go along with what other people say or think. Um, but yeah, so is AI, you know, uh, the dark side? It's an interesting question, right? Is do we really have something to fear, or is this just, again, an opinion that is being assigned to us by other people? Because as someone who's like tapped into and makes an effort to be tapped into the zeitgeist as much as possible, just kind of in terms of when I say zeitgeist, what I mean is, I defined it a second ago. Um, just in terms of like what is, you know, um, what's the spirit or thinking of our time? Where is the tide going? Is it going in? Is it going out? What are the prevailing opinions and changing moods and patterns socially and thought patterns that are going on? And this is one of them. And I think it's informed in part by, I'll just actually share the screen and show you a couple of videos. Um, so if we come over here and we turn on display capture. All right. Still getting used to this. Bear with me. All right, cool. So this was a kind of a more sarcastic video. You kind of can instantly get a feel for it just from what's on the screen right now, but let's put a few seconds of it.
Is this announcement related to OpenAI, perhaps?
It is.
I'm intrigued.
And in fact, what if I were to say that you're related to the announcement or that you are the announcement?
Me? The announcement is about me? Well, color me intrigued.
Well, guys, it's here. The technology that is going to change literally everything about our economy and our society is finally beginning to be fully unveiled, and it's pretty scary. It seems like once every 2 or 3 months or so, a new AI technology or a new AI capability is revealed, and the entire planet sits and watches in horror. And, well, today is no different. A couple of hours ago, OpenAI unveiled GPT-4o through a YouTube live stream and a series of YouTube videos demonstrating the capabilities of this new AI model. And some of the stuff they're showing off here is kind of mind-blowing. If you haven't seen any of the videos yet, GPT-4o seems to be an insanely large step into the direction of fully interactive AI. Like such a massive step that this model is probably going to be the foundation of what people use to build digital companions that seek to replace actual human relationships. So, awesome stuff. Really bright future ahead of us. It can take seemingly any visual or auditory information and respond to it in an eerily human way. You'll see. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there. It's going great.
All right, so you get the general idea. Obviously, it's more of a, this video is more tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic, but I think the person is also genuinely expressing concern, in terms of, like, well, what the hell are we going to do? And let's actually take a quick look at the comments. I'm actually not aware of, what. Let's see. If there's anything interesting here. I think I had like 500 different sci-fi movies flashed in my mind. So this is one of the most upvoted comment. Dude, the way the AI so nonchalantly butters this guy up while extracting information from him is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, so I mean, genuinely, like we are a lot of people. What initially comes to mind, and what came to my mind initially when thinking about this, as I was writing my sci-fi trilogy back in 2017, was okay. Like this just makes sense. It was very logical. Like if AI is invented and becomes more intelligent, why would it not take over? Or if it wasn't conscious, but some human or small group of people controlled it, why would they not use it to just gain as much power as possible and hold everyone else down or make a lot of money or whatever the case was? It seemed like those outcomes were quite probable, and I still believe that there is a non-zero chance that that could happen. I think that is a real risk. I think the risk is actually a lot lower now because so many more people are thinking in these terms. They're thinking of, Terminator and, a bunch of other movies. Um, but they nonchalantly butters this guy up, extracting information from him is absolutely terrifying. So you get a sense for, how people are reacting to this. And I think that as people, we just don't we react this way when we don't understand also. Part of the reason why I have actually become less fearful is because I am, my company is actually, building with this technology. We are doing what you would call, there's foundational AI, which is building these AI models that have billions of parameters, kind of building the digital brain. And then there's applied AI companies. At the moment, we're an applied AI company, but we also are building our own foundational AI as well, and doing development in that direction over the longer term. But because you know I work with this day to day and I understand like how it works, and also just the level of awareness is higher, and also just interacting and seeing how okay the AI today is definitely not conscious. It is really trained to behave based on the data that is fed into it. Absolutely. Um, it also seems like the capabilities, at least at the moment, have plateaued a little bit. It's like everyone kind of caught up to AI. Not everyone, but is at or close to catching up to AI, OpenAI. Even so Grok from X/Twitter, Google, Llama 3 came out about 3, 4 weeks ago at the time of this video. You know, it just seems like the probability in my mind has dropped a lot. Um, Especially as someone who's thought about this for a while, but for I think everyone else who has become much more aware, and this seems like a more likely scenario and more awareness, it comes off as something more to be frightened of. And I don't, I think perspectives like this, they only just diffuse further into the social zeitgeist, and people just get further polarized. And I don't blame this guy necessarily because I think he's just talking and being entertaining at the same time. All right, let's look at another one. So this one is a little bit less benign. The title of the video is AI, Amazon's AI, quote unquote, the truth. So in another video that just uploaded yesterday, actually, it was actually a longer video. Part of the title of it was AI news analysis, plus AI lies and the lying liars who tell them. I might make a like kind of a more planned out video in the future on that topic because there just seems to be a lot of I hate to use the word misinformation because it just seems so politicized, but I say misinformation in the sense of like just like wrong information or incorrect information that's out there, or at least somewhat biased at a minimum and misguided. This video from Logically Answered, I'm not familiar with this channel, but I came across it. It was recommended to me by the algorithm. It's talking about as some of these other channels and other videos that I covered yesterday in yesterday's video. Again, the same story about Amazon and how allegedly, oh, their AI was fake, and that's what is implied with this clickbait title, Amazon's quote unquote AI, the truth. And to be fair, when you listen to this video in the beginning, this commentator, this YouTuber is actually he's more fair and a little bit more accurate than, and the sun is setting, so it's probably going to get dark in here in a second. Um, you know, he's more fair, more accurate than some of the others, but the allegation was that, oh, or the implication from some other YouTubers without, they just didn't actually have, I think, an understanding of, you know, they aren't AI engineers or developers, um, because what these 1,000 workers in India who were supposedly, it was implied, with some of these news stories that came out, there's like one outlet that reported it, and then everyone else picks it up and is like, oh, look, Amazon's AI is really just, you know, a bunch of Indian workers sitting behind computer screens, actually doing the real work. AI is a lie. Look at that. And it's very misguided because AI as much is actually quite capable. And really what these workers were doing, because we don't even know how much of this was actually accurate, because a couple of different articles when I dug into it said it wasn't actually 70% because they were the Indian workers, in terms of people coming into these Amazon grocery stores that were called Just Walk Out, okay, where you could come in, grab a box of cereal or some fruit, and just walk out the door, and basically Amazon is already going to automatically identify you and debit your account. That was the idea. Basically, their AI was doing this, or so they advertised, but then it was leaked by one unnamed source, who said that actually it was about 1,000 workers, labeling, um, 700 out of every 1,000 just walk out sales. Another, but another news article said it was up to that amount. And so the language from the different news stories actually kind of changed when you dig into it. So that makes it a little more questionable. But then understanding how AI and machine learning works, where you have to feed in data, and of course, like the OpenAI did this as well with training their models, and other companies as well. You can't 100% trust these models. Like, they are trained on human data, but they also need a lot of human verification. And so undoubtedly, in my mind, the reason they were doing this was just to verify that the AI was working well. It's not that it was like there was no AI. It was just like kind of a like a facade. It was faked. Um, no, like, I mean, uh, corporations can absolutely lie and commit fraud, but I don't think that was the case in this case, because why would they do that? What would the incentive is so much higher for them to actually, and they have the technology to do this, and the manpower and the budget to invest in it. So of course they were, but it just wasn't. I think the PR from this actually may have. Um, Actually, I don't want to say that because that might not be correct. But um, but yeah, I think that the YouTubers have done their audiences a disservice here by sort of just running with the sensational, you know. Um, and I don't think that this, you know, kind of clickbaity title is helping anything either. All right, let's switch back, and we will wrap up. All right, so you know that brings us back to you know. Um, there's like kind of there's an echo chamber that goes on, as you may already be, aware in social media. And a lot of opinions and feelings, they kind of get reinforced and amplified, and that's happening right now. Like, so, whether someone is a techno optimist or, on the other side, which I think a large majority of people are going to fall on the other end of the spectrum, because people don't like change. People don't like what they don't understand. AI itself, in a way, even to AI engineers and machine learning experts and developers who work with this technology, in a way, it is sort of a black box in some ways. It's a neural network is really just it's doing simple math and kind of running a simple algorithm in scaled up complex parts. Um, so there are some components of it that, we know that it works, but we're not exactly sure, what, for example, oh, what is this neuron doing over here? We don't understand it exactly. There are ways of determining it, but people don't like change. People don't like what they don't understand. And and it seems like a topic that you can't really penetrate. I have some ideas for how to solve this in the future with some free tools from my company. So I'll let you know if and when we pursue that. Because I think that the more people understand, I think the less scary that it will become. And there's no good, free tools that are out there that help to address this problem of understanding. And just I think they're just educational for the general public to play around with. Um, and also, people don't like what they are told by influencers is going to be a threat to their wallet. And this is where I would like to end this video is with giving you an optimistic view. And this is not necessarily the view that I hold 100%. I actually my inclination is to think in probabilities, and this has served me well in running and growing my businesses. I like to think that it is an example of some good judgment that I have, at least to some extent. I'm not perfect, but here's an optimistic view. All right, and because I do think that this is a possibility, and it might, and it is a, I think it's in my mind, it is a rising probability. I think that the probability, or as the I don't know, Silicon Valley folk and machine learning and AI folk are saying more and more, this is kind of slowly entering the zeitgeist as well. This term P doom. So P is sort of like, I think, a semi-mathematical notation of the letter P stands for probability, and then parentheses doom. So what P doom means, what's the probability that AI is going to destroy humanity or take over the world or whatever. Um, create a little human zoo. All right. What's P doom? Um, so I think that the probability of the worst case scenario has gone down in my mind, especially with efforts like the open source AI that's out there, and also just kind of the incentive structures that are there for um, some of these larger companies to actually make AI globally accessible and as a tool that everyone can access at a fairly affordable price, um, or even completely free in the case of ChatGPT. I mean, this is really powerful technology, and they have given it away for free. Obviously, they have a profit incentive to do that, but the fact that it is in the hands of everyone, and that companies like mine are building tools and a platform to actually help entrepreneurs and businesses and marketers to really integrate this in an easy way into their business to save a ton of time and accelerate their growth. I mean, I am an optimist, and in part because I'm working towards this better future, which is, to define it, what is the optimistic view? The optimistic view is where everyone becomes an entrepreneur. Okay, yes, jobs go away and other jobs are augmented, meaning they change, they become enhanced with AI. But I think that the optimistic view is everyone becomes an entrepreneur. Everyone, there might be there going to be different varying degrees where different companies will still have different levels of resources and different values as far as valuations as far as like brand and establishment in the market and financial resources. Although the concept of money and how capital is allocated across the economy may change in significant ways. But I think that there's a high probability that everyone will become an entrepreneur, that the our economic system will move towards that, and that we will have our own teams of real life robotic AI agents and then digital online agents who will do our bidding on our behalf, and based on the amount of value that we contribute through the processes that we work with our teams of AI to actually craft and create. We accumulate more capital. We are paid more in terms of money, for our goods and services. And um, but I think everyone becomes an entrepreneur in this scenario in part because so much repetitive work, it does become automated, and so teams that are once, or companies and teams that are once much larger can, work in much smaller teams. So each person might, work as a solo founder and or as part of a small team to accomplish what otherwise, could only be done by a Fortune. Depending on resources, maybe a Fortune 100,000, and it scales up and down. But the economy just sort of shifts, and I think the playing field in terms of competition, I think, becomes a bit more ironically in favor of everyone else, and not necessarily large corporations or even a small group of people who are just, like in a dark office, saying, hey, like AI, like I'm ruling the world with my super intelligent AI. Quite the opposite. Perhaps instead, we turn Edison's famous quote on its head. Edison once said that success is 99% perspiration and only 1% inspiration. Perhaps we can flip that with the power of AI for it to be 99% inspiration, or in other words, the quality of our ideas, and only 1% or less perspiration. And that might be a future that, once we arrive at it, we might all be quite happy with, actually. Um, where you might have really the option to work, and if you do work, it's much easier in a more level economic playing field. Ideally, I think this could happen where you have perhaps not as much compute power, if you will, or AI power. Maybe like you know, one person speculated recently that perhaps electricity itself is the currency of the future because these AI models, to develop them and power them, they are going to take up so much energy. I don't necessarily believe that, but it's an interesting thought that that could be the currency, or a currency of the future, because it is inherently valuable on its own, even in a way that's more immediate utility than gold, for example. Um, so, what do you think? Did you enjoy this video? Let me know in the comments. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I'm always open to hearing different perspectives, so And I like to, my mind is open to being changed if I see data that is objectively and logically persuasive in other directions. But this is where my thinking is at right now. Where is your thinking at? Let me know. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with in the comments? And if you found this video to be valuable, other than leaving a comment, please give a like, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Let me know if you like this format. I'll keep making videos like this if so. And until next time, stay focused and keep growing. All right, take care.